What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Life's a Garden. Today's guest is a massive pro wrestling fan. He's traveled all over the country, attending some of the biggest events, meeting some of the biggest pro wrestling stars. He also attended the When We Were Young festival in Las Vegas, which we dive into. This is a very pro wrestling heavy episode, which I absolutely love because, honestly, I never have anybody to talk about pro wrestling with. And it was a huge part of my life for the longest time. So if you got a problem with that, tough shit. And that's the bottom line, 'cause D. Craig said so. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Josh Roman. Have you lived in Billings your whole life, or?
No, I moved down here in 2008 or 2009. One of those years. I've been here for a fairly long time, and I just came down here from New York City. I was born and raised there,
Okay.
and but when I turned 21, I wanted to move somewhere, and Montana wasn't in the mindset of where this is where I'm going to live, and I decided just to come visit, and then from there, I could pick where I want to go. One of my best friends, who I consider family, used to live here, and always said, you should come down and visit. I think you'll love this. It's a big change of pace, and that's what you're looking for.
Oh, that's from New York City? Like, legit New York City?
New York City, like, the projects.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And, it was the exact polar opposite of what I needed. It was a big culture shock for me
Oh, I bet.
coming down here. But I already had been to like North Carolina and places that are not not a big city. So
Sure. So that wasn't you didn't go from
yeah,
the biggest city in the world
Yeah.
to
yeah. So
little old town.
So yeah, it was a crazy time. I don't know if I would ever suggest doing that.
Really?
It was a really bad idea, but I was super stubborn to make it work, regardless of whatever the situation. I didn't have a job lined up. I didn't have family. I had that one friend, and
Just kind of start from scratch.
Start from scratch, and I was ready to do it though. I was ready. I spent a month living in a hotel until I started rooming with a coworker of mine, and then eventually moved in with another person, and then gradually just got my own place.
Was there a specific reason for the move?
Yeah, I think for me, I was just tired. I was just I felt like New York, as crazy as it sounds, I wanted more out of it, and I wasn't getting it there. I wanted something completely different.
Sure.
And I was having this conversation with my cousin. We were at this park, and we were talking about our lives and what we wanted to do. And I said I wanted to do something completely different. I wanted to get out of here. I originally wanted to go to Canada.
Oh, wow.
Mainly because everything about Canada I was vibing with.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the best wrestlers are from Canada.
True.
So you learn a lot about it because you research your favorite wrestler. You want to know everything about them.
Mm-hmm.
So, excuse me.
No worries.
That's what I wanted to go. I wanted to go to Canada. But yeah, I ended up here in Montana.
So you've always been a wrestling fan then, huh?
Yeah, I've always been a wrestling fan. I go in between spurts of when I watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom was the reason why I was a wrestling fan.
Okay.
She was the main reason why I started watching it, and I still watch it. It's because of her. She used to sit me down and watch wrestling with me and tell me about all her favorites. And she's a big wrestling fan. She doesn't watch it as much now, but she was so into it back then and got me into it back then.
That's interesting that like usually the mom wouldn't be necessarily the one that gets you into something like that. Because it's more of a
little
male
violent.
dominant. Yeah. But that's cool that that's the case because obviously there's all kinds of different cases. But
Yeah.
so is she still in New York then?
She is still in New York. She's a school teacher in New York City.
Wow.
Yeah, and she's always been in that sort of field ever since I was a little kid. She was always in that field. But yeah, she was just a single parent. Lived with my grandmother for almost my entire life. The two of them raised me. It was a kind of like a complicated household because even though there was so much love in the room, there was a lot of language barriers. My grandmother, who lived there, spoke only Spanish.
Okay.
My mom really didn't want me. I don't know if she was just like scared, or I don't know how her feelings were about it, but she didn't teach me Spanish. She sent me to like an all English speaking school, public school.
Is your mom bilingual?
Yeah,
Okay.
she is. And I don't know. I don't think it was just, she has so much on her plate. I don't think like, hey, you need to learn this as well, was just,
Although that would have been kind of cool.
it would have been. And it's partly my fault because like I could have just picked it up on it on my own. I can understand it completely. So if you talk to me in Spanish, I'll understand. But like, I can't like,
Communicate back.
I can't have that conversation with you back.
Which is interesting, like, because it is totally different, like, to hear it and understand it, because especially growing up,
Yeah.
I'm sure you just picked up on those things.
Uh-huh.
But then, yeah, to formulate, you have to learn how to speak it a certain
Yeah.
way, so...
Yeah, I just sound like a fool anytime I try to say any Spanish
Yeah,
phrase.
I get it. I was the same way in school whenever we learned Spanish. So is your grandmother from Mexico?
No, she was born and raised in Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay.
I'm Puerto Rican, and she moved down to New York City with my mom when she was really young. And my grandmother didn't have a great upbringing. She's a very sweet lady, but she was pulled out of school at a young age to take care of her mom's like sisters and like her sister. So it was like a very rough bringing for her. So she just got out of Puerto Rico like as soon as she could, move down here, and yeah, it was just me, my grandmother, and my mom for the longest time until my youngest brother was born.
Okay, I was going to ask if you had any siblings.
I have two, but they're both like half siblings, I guess you could say.
Sure.
One's from like two different fathers.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm still super close with them as well. They're all three of us could not live more different lives.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they both in New York still?
They're
too?
both in New York still. My one of my brothers actually came down here to visit and ended up falling in love with it as well and stayed with me for a couple of months
Oh, really?
before he moved back. He just got like a great opportunity in New York. He couldn't pass up on it, so he had to go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my one of my brothers is a musician. Is like the lead guitarist in his band.
Okay.
It's like an indie rock band called Roman Sky.
Okay.
And he's doing his thing, which I think is great. And then my other brother is a model for, he does like photo shoots. He was in Vogue.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Us three could not be more. And then their oldest brother lives in Montana.
Yeah, right? Well, that is interesting. And then how old were you when you came here then? You said 2009.
I just turned 21.
Okay.
I
Okay.
just turned 21. I'm 35 now.
Sure. Okay. So yeah, so about almost 15 years then, huh? Damn.
Yeah.
That's-
It's a long time.
I know, especially when New York is like kind of it's your home base essentially, right? And then you always have that option to go back. That's pretty interesting that you wouldn't bite on that just because you'd think opposite. So many
Yeah.
people would.
Yeah.
Like the amount of times I've heard people around here say, "Oh, I just want to get out of here. I want to go somewhere else," and this, that,
Yeah.
But to hear from the other side of it, you coming from a bigger city and like sticking around, it's just kind of a different perspective.
Yeah. I mean, I fell in love with this place, and I think the most part about it was the fact that you can learn a trade and perfect it, and then take it elsewhere to a bigger city if you wanted to.
Sure.
There's not a whole lot of competition. Like, everybody can be a bartender here. Everybody can be a cook here. Everybody...
Definitely doesn't hurt that there's a bar on every corner.
Yeah. So you can learn something, and
Sure.
if you want to take that, progress it, and move it to a bigger city, you can do that. There's plenty of opportunity to do that here. I don't think it'll be as easy as if you went to like Vegas or somewhere and it's like, oh, I want to be a bartender today.
Right.
It's like you got like 50,000 people who also want to be bartenders, so you gotta.
Well, and when you compare, a place like New York to here, you're talking cost, affordability of housing. There's so many factors that go into things. The hustle and like some people really like that hustle and bustle. Some people like a little bit more laid back. So, it's funny too that you mentioned that because I never knew the New York connection. I can see like a little bit of that in you because you're very intriguing. You're a very intriguing person. Just from an outside perspective, it seems like you're always doing something. You're always out, whether it's at parties downtown or not even just parties, but like events. You're either doing something like that. You have very impeccable fashion, I must add. Like,
Thank you.
Like, I'm nobody to talk fashion because I have zero of it, but I can recognize when somebody, understands how to dress, and you always dress very nice.
Thank you.
And then you're always traveling. You're always going all over. Like, I feel like you. How many events do you think you go to a year? Whether that be wrestling or music? Because I know, didn't you go to that?
Yeah, I just came back from a music festival in Vegas.
When
we were young.
Yeah. How was that?
That was incredible. That was like a dream. I spent most of it thinking like, is this really happening?
Yeah.
Like, you go to a show, you build out the anticipation for it. You're like, oh, I can't wait to go see this band. And the time comes, and the band plays, and it's incredible, and then that's it. The show's over. Now, take that feeling and be like, all right, I just saw my favorite band. All right, in like 5 minutes, I'm going to see my other favorite band.
Yeah.
And then my other favorite band is playing. And then on top of that, another favorite band is playing. And that just keeps... And it just keeps building and building and building, and it's like... Man, this is the best day. This is the best day ever.
Where was that at, by the way?
It was in Vegas, in this place called the Fairgrounds. The Fairgrounds is right by this motel called Circus. So it's like sort of by the strip, but not really.
Okay.
A couple minutes away.
Outside though?
Outside.
Okay. Man, that does sound fun. Like, I think I've only ever been to one festival, and I only went to the main stage because I was younger. I would love to go to a music festival and just... It's always been one on my bucket list.
Yeah, I've never been to a festival. So
first one?
It's my first one. I did not know what to expect.
Damn, and that's a good one to be your first.
Yeah, and at first when it came out, it was like a meme. Everybody was like, "This sounds way too good to be true. This is definitely a scam. Do not give these people money. It's by the same people who did this and that." And I was like, "Okay, here's the thing. If it's a scam, I'm going to get my money back."
Right.
It's, the credit card companies or whatever, they're pretty good at, if it's happening to everybody, then, you're going to get it. So worst case scenario is I'm in Vegas and no concert. I'm still in Vegas. I'll make the best of it. I'll go hang out.
Sure. There's always something going on.
Best case scenario, it happens.
Right.
But with that being said, it happened for 3 days. Day 1, day 2, and the next day was day 3, but that was next week. Day 1 got shut down. Day 1 got canceled 15 minutes before it was supposed to go on.
Oh, I bet you were just shitting bricks.
I was
thinking they were actually canceling the whole thing or something, or like it was a scam.
Yeah, I could not believe it. I was like glued to my phone. What had happened was the wind was so bad. Sorry, moved.
Oh, you're good.
The wind was so bad that the stage was like rocking.
Okay.
And the city is the one who told them they couldn't do it anymore.
Wow.
It wasn't them saying we can't do this. No, the city was like, nah, you gotta shut this.
Did they postpone it though? Were they able to do all the sets still?
Unfortunately, they couldn't. They just gave everybody their money back
for the first day.
For the first day. And the second day went on the next day with no problems. And a lot of people were like, well, can I just go to day 2 if I got day 1? The problem is they already sold out day 2. So if you add on day 1 and day 2 together, it's going to be chaos.
Yeah.
Someone's going to get hurt.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Some people would have only paid for one day.
Yeah.
Damn. That would have sucked for them. But I guess they still got reimbursed.
They got reimbursed. And I actually had a few friends of mine who were in Vegas when it got canceled. And it was a rough day for them.
Who was playing that first day? Do you remember?
It was essentially the same exact lineup
Oh, okay.
as the one I went to. All the stars. The only person that I didn't get to see that had to drop out was Avril Lavigne.
Oh, okay.
She was on the main card and she canceled on day 3, so I didn't get to see her.
Oh, it's a bummer still.
But everybody else was still there. Everybody else was on time. Like, that's the best thing. Is like how quickly and polished everything was.
Was there multiple stages?
Multiple stages.
It's the best.
There was 2 stages next to each other. One was like there was a little divider, and one band was playing. The other band stage was being set, and then as soon as they were done, the band came on, and then the band would like vice versa.
Just constant music.
Constant music, and they did a good job. Like there was so many outlets for like bathrooms and water. There were like signs everywhere that says "Don't forget to drink water."
Oh yeah,
like
especially
big
out in
neon signs.
Vegas.
Don't forget to drink water.
Yeah,
So-
I'm sure they've had multiple issues with stuff like that when it's in
Yeah.
Vegas outside.
Oh, and it was hot.
When was that?
It was in the end of October,
Oh wow, I don't. Oh,
and it was a scorcher.
damn.
That sun was not having any fun with us.
I think when I went to Vegas, it was like June, and that was hot. Like you literally would walk from just not even the hotel to hotel because God knows that's like a mile between each hotel. It's crazy how far they are between each other.
Yeah.
But you just walk from one hotel to the Strip, and you're burning.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had a little pocket sunscreen on me because I burn like that. So I can't imagine being out in a festival all day. But
Yeah, no, I came prepared. I had a little fanny pack.
yeah,
I shoved that thing with water.
smart.
So anytime, and then I would just double fist in water. Then every once in a while, I'll go buy a $24 Bud Light or whatever.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. So you said so that one, and then you went to a couple wrestling events this last year, right?
Yeah,
You seem to go to a couple every year.
Yeah, like there's the thing called the Big Four in wrestling, which is a pay-per-view in January called the Royal Rumble, a pay-per-view in April called WrestleMania. There's one in August called SummerSlam, and then finally a Survivor Series that usually happens in November. And for as long as I can remember, those were the main ones you always wanted to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Like you want to chase those 4.
Those are like the big events of the year.
Even though they have like 12 in a month, like they have one every single month, those 4 out of the 12 is the ones you wanted to go to.
And those always have the stack cards and stuff, like the big events.
Yeah,
And
those are the ones like they,
it's usually where the
everything.
storylines really
pick up. And
climax.
Yeah.
Either some of them climax or start at
Yeah.
those times,
Yeah.
and then it'll go through to the next one.
Yeah, essentially. And I went to, was it just two of the big ones? I've been to all 4 before.
Dude, that's crazy. You've been to a WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Have you been to multiple?
Yes, I've been to 2 WrestleManias. I've been to one in the MetLife Stadium in New York City / New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
And then I've been to my first one ever was in New Orleans and inside the what's it called?
The Superdome.
Is it Superdome?
Yeah, I know it's like the Mercedes-Benz.
Mercedes-Benz. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And both were insane.
Which what numbers were they?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I am terrible with remembering on numbers.
That's just how I.
I am terrible with
remember
remembering
'em.
numbers. I can tell you like who
Yeah,
was
who-
on the card and everything.
Yeah,
but
who was the main event on?
the main event on the first one that I went and saw was Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
And there was also Ronda Rousey's first ever WWE match. It was also Kurt Angle's first ever WWE match back from semi-retirement.
Mm-hmm.
So those were big moments. You had a card that all these wrestlers I really wanted to see. and I was super excited to see them. My seat wasn't too bad either. Like,
See, and you always get like the VIP stuff too, or at least a lot of times.
I try to get the best because unless it's not like a big pay-per-view, you can sit sort of further away. But I wanted to.
If you're gonna do it,
if you're gonna do it, yeah, do it. Yeah.
I mean,
if you're gonna, if this is really what you want, get the best of the best.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna make the trip all the way to New Orleans, or at least when the one in New York, you had place to stay and people you knew, you had connections.
Yeah, I have family, so
right,
and that's always great to an excuse like, hey, I'm coming back to New York to visit, and they were like, is there a wrestling show coming on? What? Why would you say that? I'm just gonna come and say hi. Can I crash for a little bit?
Yeah, do you mind if I?
Do you mind if I crash?
I might be gone on a Sunday for all day.
You might not see me, but I'm gonna be there.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you're gonna make that whole event, make that trip, yeah, you might as well get the best seats you can get. And
absolutely. And that's I feel I know I always get they always like, oh, you spent so much money on a seat for a show. And it's like it's just it's an investment for me because it's the memories I'm making during that I'm gonna always cherish, and I'm always gonna have that. And if I had bought a plain old seat,
especially in those stadiums, man,
yeah,
like I can barely see a football game from up there.
Yeah,
much less a.
If I'm gonna buy a plane ticket and a Airbnb and all this, I wanna be able to enjoy myself.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to see the ring,
right, and see it from that perspective of it, because I mean, otherwise you're just watching it on TV.
Yeah, you're just a big old screen and you're just like this for most of the time.
That's got to be an absolutely insane experience because there's like 100,000 people.
Oh yeah,
from all over the world.
Oh yeah, when I started doing this, I like going to a show. It was fairly recently.
Yeah.
Like I haven't just been going to shows forever. Like I just started.
Okay.
Doing this.
When was your first one then?
My first ever show was in New York City. I went to a what was it? It was called NXT Brooklyn, and it was with my best friend, and we got front row tickets to the show. And I was telling you, I have never had as much goosebumps in my entire life as that day because the experience, the environment, the crowd, the atmosphere, everything is electric.
Especially when it's something that you've loved for your whole life.
And you're finally getting to see it live in front of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's indescribable how great that feeling is when you're in the front row seat and you can see something like that.
Oh, yeah. Like, I can mostly relate to that with music, because that's kind of my passion.
Yeah.
And so the times I've seen bands for the first time, and when you're right up front and they walk out on stage, I know exactly the feeling. I've only been to 2 WWE events, and there were the 2 that have been here. Well, I guess we have more than 2 here, but I've been to 2 out of the 3 here. And I loved it, even though it's just those house shows.
Those house shows are incredible. I would say some of those house shows have been better than pay-per-views that I've been at.
Really?
Because the thing about a house show is there's not really a strict, I'd say, script that they have to follow. They can just kind of like be themselves and kind of like, just get out of character for a little bit.
Yeah, and just kind of improvise, I guess.
And play with the crowd a little bit more. When there's no cameras and no one commentator and anything like that, you could just kind of have fun. And some of those shows have been like hilarious. Just hanging out with some friends here in Billings and watching these shows. Like I've had an amazing time. I got like a picture with one of the wrestlers, Natalie Neidhart. And it's so funny. It was around, I want to say it was around Halloween, or maybe we just all decided to dress as wrestlers. Regardless, I dressed as her uncle Bret Hart.
That's cool. We
were in the front row, and my buddy goes, "Hey, Bailey just said, hey, look, that's Bret Hart over there." And I was laughing. I was like, "No, she didn't." He's like, "Yeah, Bailey just said, she pointed you out." And then Natalie comes out, and Bailey goes, "Look at this guy," and like points at me, and she goes, and she gives me her cat ears. And I was like, "Oh, that was so cool!" Like, I'm just like already like a big fan of that, just happy.
Right.
And then right after the match ends, she goes like this, and she wants me to go ringside. And we take a picture, And the next day, she posted it on Instagram, and my buddy's like, you just go to a random WWE show, and now you got like 20, 30 million likes on this photo.
Dude, that's so cool. And that was here.
And I was here.
That's so cool. Man. And was that the last one? Because, yeah, I think that was right around...
It was the second to the last one.
Okay. Because I remember there was one right around Halloween. It might have even been on Halloween.
Yeah. That was the first one. The first one that was on Halloween. I remember I was dressed as Seth Rollins that time.
Nice.
Yeah,
I can see that.
That's my boy.
Did I ever show you the one where I was dressed like Stone Cold?
Yeah, and I love that one. You did such a good job on that one.
Yeah, I got
the cut off shorts and everything.
I still have all that stuff.
Man,
so
I was amazing. I saw that and I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
That was. I feel like and my buddy was The Rock that same time too. That was pretty cool. And my another friend was Mankind. We went out as wrestlers for Halloween. That was a good one. That was probably one of my favorite costumes, honestly.
Nice.
But that's so cool. And okay, so back to the Brooklyn one. Mm-hmm. You said that was your first one.
That was my first one. Yes, my very first one. Not technically a pay-per-view.
Right.
It's on the network. It was followed by SummerSlam, which was the very next day in the same arena.
And you went to that one too?
Yeah, I went to that one. So that was both. It was inside of Barclays Center. So it was kind of like a 2 for 1. Mm-hmm. But they don't do this anymore. But back then, they used to do a NXT pay-per-view, then a regular pay-per-view, and then Raw, and then SmackDown, all in the same building, back to back to back. And I went through all 4 of them.
Damn. Oh,
Yeah.
So that one you went to all 4.
I went to all 4 of them.
Jeez.
I was so exhausted.
Oh, I bet.
It was like, NXT was like 2-3 hours. The pay-per-view was 4 hours. Then you got 3 hours of Raw, and you got 2 hours of SmackDown.
That's literally the definition of going all out.
Yeah.
Like you literally saw all of it on
Yeah.
your first jump.
And the best thing about that is I got to take family with me.
Cool.
Yeah, I took my brother to one of these shows. I was like, hey, man, I'm going to one of these shows. I'm buying you a ticket. Just make sure you have that day off. Because I grew up watching it with him. So if I got to see wrestling with him, I'm happy.
Yeah, that's a huge moment, man. That's so cool. And what year was that one?
That was, I would say, 4 years ago.
Okay. So, yeah, like you said, you have just kind of started.
I've just started. Yeah.
But damn, like to see 2 WrestleManias. Didn't you go to the SmackDown in Nashville, too?
Yeah, it was SummerSlam.
Or sorry, that's what I meant.
SummerSlam. And that was in Nashville. And I tell you what, Nashville is incredible.
Oh, I just was there. I was down there for a football game.
Yeah, so much fun.
It's a blast.
So much fun. I was like so excited for the trip, but I was also looking at the weather, and this is just me being me. I was like, how am I going on vacation to a colder place? Because at the time, it said it was going to be freezing there, but
really?
it wasn't.
Okay, well that's good.
It turned out it was actually pretty hot, and
it's humid there too.
It's humid, yeah. It was humid. I was like wearing a white t-shirt, sweating,
just drenching.
Dude,
that's what it was like for me though when I went down there because we went down in I guess it was November, and I'm thinking, okay, southern, it should be decently warmer than here because we had snow. Mm-hmm. Well, we did escape the snow. We did not escape the cold. That was the coldest game I've ever been to in my life, and I've been to like 6 games in Denver.
Yeah.
And none of those compared to... I've even been to games in Denver where it snowed. And the one in Nashville, I was freezing.
See, that's what I wanted to ask you. It's like, how many football games have you been to?
I think this last one made either 10 or 11.
Okay. I have never been to one. I do want to do one. That's on the bucket list. I was like 3 years ago now. I decided I'm going to find a football team.
Okay.
Growing up, I was a big Giants fan, mainly because my best friend was a Giants fan, and seeing him into it got me super into it. But then I kind of fell off, didn't watch it as much. But I was like, all right, we have to pick a team. And I decided I want to like the Bills.
I was gonna say if you haven't picked one, I got one to suggest for you.
I was gonna say I love the Bills, and it's mainly they're an incredible football team, but mainly it's because I saw how their fans act at these pregame
like
events,
wrestlers,
and it's hilarious. They're just like, here's this piece of table, let's turn it on fire and let's jump through it, let's powerbomb through it, let's let's break these tables.
It's like it was meant for you.
And I was like, I love this so much.
Oh, Bills Mafia is the best.
I love this so much. So I was like, I love the Bills. So but they recently played a game against the Dolphins, and it was so cold in that stadium. Like, there's snow just covering the seats. Everybody's like bundled up.
Yeah.
And those football games last a long time. I don't know if I can be committed as standing in something that cold and just watching a game for like 4 hours or
4 hours something there. But even still, like, yeah, that's why you got to pick.
That's commitment.
If you're gonna go to a game, especially if it's gonna be your first game. Well, first of all, if you're gonna ever go to Buffalo, I would wait till they get their new stadium because that's, I think, 4 years down the line.
Okay.
But I mean, there's so many other places that they play. I mean, Denver obviously is a good spot because it's real close. Seattle, Minnesota. I'd always I love going to road games personally because I've been to Denver several times and I'll go back. But my new thing is wanting to go to a different road game every year, mostly to check out a new city, but then to see the new stadium. And it's fun being the road team, kind of, like everyone's against you. I've had more fun at tailgates on the road than any time in Denver because it's like, strength in numbers. So you see somebody wearing your jersey, you're like, "Hey, what's up, buddy? Like, we got to band together here. We're in the enemy's house." But Nashville was this last year. The year before that, we went to Dallas. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That's cool, man. I love that. I love like the when people just come together, like strangers just come together, and then for that moment, they're gonna be like best friends.
Oh, and I imagine like at a wrestling event, you just whoever's right next to you, you're just like, just the best of buddies.
Yeah, that's actually how I met one of my really good friends, Joseph. I was at a show in Houston, Texas, and I went there by myself to this one. I had no friends this time with me, and we were just sitting on the same aisle. And there was like a couple of chairs next to us empty, and something had happened, and we just made a comment like, "You seen that? Like, that's freaking crazy," or something like that. And then we just started chatting, and it was like, "Oh, I'm just sitting next to you, dude." And ever since then, we've been like going to all these shows because we just had so much in common. He was also from New York.
Okay.
He went to the show by himself too, and he like watched wrestling for a long time, so we just bonded over that. And it's funny, like a lot of my friends, some that I met through Instagram, like some of my like close friends because of wrestling. Yeah, these people, you just go down the street, you just walk down the street before an event. If somebody sees you with a wrestling shirt on, and you have one too, they're gonna
it's an automatic.
Hey, what's up, man?
You have something in common. There's at least somewhere that you can agree upon, no matter what. Like nothing else matters. That's how I feel with football too. Like I see somebody wearing a football jersey, I'm just like,
you want to discuss something, you want to talk about it.
Yeah, it's like we at least both know something that we can agree on. Yeah. But man, I'd love to go to a wrestling, like a big pay-per-view thing. That would always be.
I definitely think you should at least try it out once, man. Somewhere, like even it has to be not like the big four, like another wrestling pay-per-view event. Some of those are fun too. There's a new wrestling organization out called AEW.
Yes, I love it. I like them both, but
AEW
is fun.
I went to their pay-per-view in Vegas.
Double or
Nothing. And I didn't get a great seat or whatever, but it was still a fun time. I was having a great time at the show. It's so long though.
Oh, really?
Those AEW's ones especially are so long.
That's interesting.
They just put so many matches. And
they're not on a time restraint, are they?
No. And it's like, some of these matches are great, but some of these could have just not been here.
It's like you could have cut this down.
You could have cut this down a little bit, man.
Or cut it completely.
Because what you do there is all the excitement and all the chanting and screaming you're doing for one match, you're burnt out by the next match. And the next match is crickets. And that's definitely not what a wrestler wants to hear when they're out there, getting beat up. They want the noise. They want the participation.
Right.
So you're burning these people out with these 5-star matches. You gotta stretch them out. Maybe cut a few. But now he's like, we gotta have 15 matches. and they all gotta be like 25 minutes.
They're all
long.
gonna be just like the best match ever.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh, I'm so tired.
I will say, so I've caught a decent amount of AEW matches, and I think I caught a couple pay-per-views. I'm definitely not the wrestling fan I once was, but
Yeah.
I still kind of pay attention and stay into it. One of the best matches I think I've seen in a long time was the Lucha Bros versus the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
I think it was a cage match, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was an incredible
They're
match.
incredible. Both of those tag teams are so much fun to watch.
Wasn't there another one in there too, actually?
Well, they've wrestled a lot. They've done a ladder match together. They've done like multiple regular tag team matches together. Some of the most crazy spots. Like if you ever played a wrestling video game and you do this move, like off the top row into a Hurricane Rana, into a table, blah blah blah. And you're like, this is only a video game can do this, and they do it like in real life.
Yeah.
In front of you, it's like, I can't believe you pulled that off.
Oh, and that's no joke. Like anybody who talks about wrestling being fake, I hate that because you go up and do that.
Yeah.
And you tell me how fake it is.
That's the thing. It's a show. It's like it's a play. It's a violent play, but it's a play. Like I don't understand the whole philosophy of the whole idea about, hey, I'm not gonna watch this because it's fake. It's like, you don't enjoy movies?
Yeah.
You don't like a TV show?
You wouldn't walk into a theater and be like, this play is fake. Like,
Yeah.
why are you wasting your time?
That's not Charlie Brown.
Yeah, right? I mean,
Let's just let your imagination go for a day and then watch it. And sometimes, it happens. Like it gets crazy. People bleed. People get injured.
yeah, people die.
People die. So you can't just discredit that by saying.
And I think what it is, it comes from the sports community because it is played up as a sport.
Mm-hmm.
But you tell me that these aren't athletes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know pro athletes that can't do flips and twists and
The cardio is
my God.
incredible. You telling me I gotta, for 25 minutes, gotta grapple with somebody and then remember, hey, this is 300-pound guy that's gonna jump off the top rope. You have to catch him, or else he's gonna get hurt. And you're not.
Or you might get hurt.
You might get hurt. Like you got to remember that.
And you got to be able to execute these moves flawlessly, or else people do get hurt.
Yeah.
And it's both athletic and entertaining.
It's entertaining. It's dumb entertainment, man. I like it.
It's not even dumb. It's great. It's. I mean, it's lasted this long. It's been around for so long.
Yeah, it is.
It sells out arenas,
stadiums. Yeah.
And you tell me that, like, I mean, it has an incredibly huge fan base for a reason.
Yeah, and it's funny how far it spans. I know TV shows, podcasts, things on YouTube that have nothing to do with wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, one of these people know something about wrestling, and they were this, something will come out.
Yeah.
When I go to these shows. The big thing about these shows and the big thing why it's so important to buy a good seat is you want to bring signs to these shows. And a lot of the times, these signs are to support your favorite wrestler or just to say something. I use my signs for a different reason. Sometimes I use them just to get a laugh. I think me and my friends are going to think this is funny. So I will bring a sign of something so obscure and non-wrestling related, and 9 times out of 10 they catch fire, and I just can't believe it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they it like the internet works itself for me.
Really?
Yeah, I have one time there's this internet personnel. She's like a video game journalist, and she was on YouTube with this comedy sort of like gaming group called Funhouse. And her name is Alana Pierce. And just out the blue, I put Alana Pierce's Bay. It's kind of like a funny little, like, oh, Alana's cute. Like, I held a sign at a wrestling show for that. Knowing damn well she's not going to see it. She does not watch wrestling.
But somebody saw it.
But someone saw it, screenshotted it, and then sent it to her. And it just blew up. Like, all these comments filled up about
that's so cool.
like, and they were all positive comments. They were all hilarious. They were all like, "Oh, what a legend! Get this guy, meet this guy for coffee."
I was gonna say, what if she was like reached out? Was she like, find this guy? Who is this guy?
She said, "Who did this?"
Did you reach out?
I never reached out.
Oh.
I never reached out.
But also, it's like how many people were like, it was me.
A lot of people were like,
of course.
I've never reached out. I was just having fun. I was like, oh, this is enough entertainment for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is hilarious. I did do it again, but this time to someone different. Is this YouTube channel called Hack the Movies, where they discuss like horror films. They discuss comedies. They discuss like old VHS tapes, and I'm a fan of those. They're pretty entertaining. There's a girl in there. Her name is Crystal Quinn,
Mm-hmm.
and I made a sign that said "Marry me, Crystal Quinn," and I took that with me to the Royal Rumble, and it was so funny. Somebody again sent that to her,
Yeah.
and she freaked out. And not only that, they had a good 5-10 minute episode just about me and my sign.
Wow.
Before they started the actual episode, they were talking about Psycho, and it was like before that, let's just do the skit where the guy who runs it, Tony, who loves wrestling, did not get a sign. Was so upset. He was like throwing away his wrestling figures, and she was like, "What are you doing?" He was like, "Oh, I just decided wrestling's lame. I decided like I'm never gonna watch it again." And she was like, "Why? Did something happen this weekend that you're upset about?" She was like, "Oh, what, the Royal Rumble? No, I don't watch that." And it was like, and then so they started talking about the sign, and she was like, "At first, I thought it was Photoshop because who knows who I am?"
Right.
She's like, "Who knows who I am? Nobody know. I'm nobody. I just do this YouTube show." She was like, "I could not believe that." She's like, "Who are you? You got to tell me who you are."
Did you reach out on that one?
I did reach out on that one. Mainly because my coworkers would not stop giving me shit about it. They were like,
gotta.
They were like, you gotta. What's the worst that can happen?
Well, and the thing is, I'm sure you had a picture of yourself with the sign.
I did.
You can prove that.
No,
it's
I proved it to her. I shot her a DM.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And ever since then, we became really good friends. We still occasionally talk on Instagram.
Dude, that's super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's smart though.
Yeah.
To take the sign, because like I've definitely seen some signs that went viral and stuff just because they were so random or whatever it was, you know.
Yeah, it was. I did it as a laugh. I thought this was gonna make me laugh, but someone put it like, homie was shooting his shot with a $400 ticket. It's like if you're gonna spend that money, you might as well.
Yeah, might as well try and shoot your shot. God dang.
Yeah,
that's a smart idea though.
Yeah, so that's what I think is great about wrestling events as well, is you can use it to your advantage as well. You can enjoy the show, but you can also create a memory that's going to stay there forever now.
Oh, hell.
Like every single time, no matter what, when the pay-per-view gets played, that sign's always going to be there.
Always going to be there. Especially when you're down low, because you can pinpoint where you can remember.
Hey, it's this guy.
So what's on the docket for this year?
Oh, man. So I don't have much planned this year. I'm trying to like kind of figure out what's next in store for Josh. I definitely feel like where I'm at right now with my life, I want to do something different. I'm getting back to that. I should probably move and start all over again somewhere. I don't know where that place is, but I'm definitely feeling like my time at Billings just run its course just a little bit. Sure. I know I can always come back. Yeah. But I definitely want to like try this again, but somewhere else. And I'm getting to that age in my head, that I feel like, well, we need to figure this out if you want to, because I don't want to be, at a certain age and be like, well, I missed my opportunity to do that. Even though people say you got tons of time. I don't know. That's not how my brain works.
Well,
right
and you
now.
can say that and keep saying that, and then eventually you're like, oh shit, I don't have that much time.
Yeah. So
you gotta strike while the iron's hot.
Exactly. So while there is a few wrestling events that I definitely have in mind, it's just I feel like it'll be a little bit not as grand as it was last year. Last year was a phenomenal year for me for wrestling shows. I went to so many places and met so many great people, and it was just I could not ask for a more blessed 2022. So
Looked like a hell of a fun time.
it was amazing. And yes, like one of my fondest memories. I was at the show and they were doing this street fight, but not like any other street fight where the bell will ring and people wrestle. They had this John Moxley's song is Wild Thing.
Oh yeah.
So they had that play off the intercom as he was coming down with his gang. That song never stopped playing. It was playing while they were wrestling.
Really?
And the crowd was screaming Wild Thing off the top of their lungs, singing this song while people were just getting like hammered and hitting each other with chairs. And I was like, this is insane and I'm here for it. I love this so much. And I talk about that moment with almost everybody I knew because it stood with me so much. Like that song now, anytime I hear it, all I would
Like
think about,
just takes you back to that
takes me
moment.
back. And it was so crazy. It was like, I never thought of that, but like they were genius. Like, let's play this song. And then finally someone took like the chords to the thing and they ripped it out so that there was no more music. And then the crowd booed.
I'm surprised they didn't just keep singing it.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that a lot of times too.
Yeah. That's the big thing about wrestling too. Some of these entrances, you just sing along with them.
Oh, that's genius for them to like have made the entrance its own event too. Like Undertaker, like I mean that is an event in itself.
It is. When there was a wrestler who came down here in Billings, and I was with some buddies, and I forgot who it was. I think it was like Bobby Roode, and he has this like very sing along song, and I was like singing along with it. And they were just like looking at me like, "Who's this guy? He's just singing right now. Why are you singing right now?"
Hey, that's part of the show.
It's part of the show. You gotta sing it.
I imagine you said you've been watching your whole life almost. Right?
Yeah. In and out of my whole life. I think there was a time frame where I didn't really watch it, but I kept tabs with it. But like I wasn't watching it like on TV as much.
Gotcha. Yeah, see, I've been the same way. Like, I remember there was the era for when it was really SmackDown and Raw, like, separate, and you had, like, Batista and Undertaker and Rey Mysterio were, like, SmackDown. I mostly knew SmackDown because it was on regular TV.
Yeah, it was.
And then,
it was super easy to catch.
Yeah, and then Raw, I know, was on cable, so I missed a lot of Raw. And then I do remember way back in the day, Stone Cold, and my sister used to watch it, so I would catch little bits here and there, both NWO or WCW and WWE. And then more recently, I had gotten back into it probably around 2012, 2011, and probably watched for a good while till I'd say like 2018-ish, to the point that I almost wanted to be like I actually went out to be a pro wrestler.
Yeah,
I was so into it. I went and tried out in Denver for this small, organization, whatever. It's not even like a real organization, but it's just like a up and coming type thing or a training type thing.
Yeah.
And it was cool. Like I ran the ropes, I got to do some bumps and stuff like that, and the ropes are no joke, dude.
No, the ropes are no joke. I got to go into a ring one time. It was never my idea to be a wrestler as much as I liked it, but I got to be in the ring, and when you ran those ropes, they hurt. Dude, there's no give.
I was bruised.
There's no give whatsoever. It's tight, and when you're hitting them, and then I saw a ring get deconstructed. There's just like boards on there, and like didn't like it. Not really a sheet, but
there's really
like there's no give.
Yeah,
so when
there's no padding.
Yeah, no, when you're getting slammed, you're getting slammed. And I was like, God damn.
It's got a little bit of a bounce, but it's hard.
Yeah.
It's a solid canvas.
Yeah.
It's not padded like people think. And then when you see people getting thrown out of the ring, like, there's padding down there. Have you ever fallen on padding? Like, it doesn't feel great still.
No.
I mean, it's better than concrete, but
no. Yeah, those crazy people, man. They're just getting slapped aside the head with like a steel chair or steel steps.
Oh, and that's
and ladders. I don't like.
Clearly, they're functional ladders. So
the funny thing about that is, I don't know how I see people like climb up there super quickly and like grab something, or they would do something with a springboard off a ladder. Like every time I'm on a ladder, I'm fearing for my life because I'm like, this is not stable whatsoever. I'm trusting my life every single ring I go up, and yeah, these people are just like climbing them real fast. Like this is ridiculous.
So out of all the, I mean, think backlog, everything, you know, because there's obviously matches I've also seen that I wasn't there for, or I didn't see live or anything like that. In your opinion, and we can include WCW, WWE, AEW, all of that. Give me like your top 3 favorite matches or favorite, let's go matches that just stick in your mind, whether it was just because, you know, it was a moment you were having with somebody else and it just like stuck, or it was just one of those matches that you'll never forget because it was just so epic. Yeah. Or maybe the gravity of the moment of the match. You know, it doesn't have to be, it's your opinion, not what you think the actual.
Yeah. That's hard because I do watch a lot of wrestling and I do have a lot of favorites. So like to put my like top 3 would be difficult, but a few that stand out forever in my head, and like whenever I'm like trying to introduce somebody to wrestling, I'm like, hey, you should watch this one. Okay. And one is The Rock and Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 18.
I remember that.
I think I don't know why. I think it was my introduction back into wrestling. I was watching it with my cousin, and Hulk Hogan was always like one of my favorite wrestlers as a kid. I was always a big Hulk Hogan fan, and then like I loved him in NWO, and then like right after that, that's when I kind of like stopped watching it. I didn't watch it as much, and then he came back, and he wrestled The Rock, and there was just something about that match where like Hulk Hogan became the good guy, even though
that wasn't really the plan, right?
That wasn't the plan, and I could just remember him hitting that big boot and hitting that leg drop, and then the crowd's going crazy because they think he's about to win. And they go 1, 2, and he kicks out. Like I still get goosebumps watching that, and I wasn't even there live for it. I was in New York in a fold out couch. Yeah, just freaking losing my brain. It was like let's go. I love that match so much, and I love how it makes me feel like I was a kid again. Like you could be 35 years old watching that, and it just transports me. Back into nostalgia, a kid, and I love that match so much. So I definitely try to get people to watch that match. And back then promos were just amazing, like little video highlights. The match graphics, like the get you hype up for the match, they were amazing. Like every song was like a Limp Bizkit song, or
it was, that totally was that era.
It's a Limp Bizkit era, and so great. I love that. So that's probably like one of my favorites because of this nostalgia and how it makes me feel when I watch it. Another big one for me is it's a little bit recent. It's a little too recent, so it's gonna kind of like doesn't have like the impact. I just love it. It's Bayley versus Sasha Banks at NXT Brooklyn or Takeover Brooklyn. It was the pinnacle, and I feel like the reason why women's wrestling is as big as it is now is because of that match. These are two supposed, indie wrestlers. They're not in the big time yet, they're not on Raw, they're not on SmackDown. They're just two, developmental wrestlers, but they put on this incredible match with such great storytelling. I mean, you got Bayley, who is like the biggest face or the good guy. She's like giving everybody hugs. Everybody treats her like she's a kid. Like no one sees worth in her. They're like, oh, you'll never amount to anything, Bayley. And then you got Sasha Banks, who's just this phenomenal wrestler. She's a bad guy. She's got attitude. She's always like the top of every wrestling conversation. And they just put on this incredible match. And I think not only is it the best women's wrestling match of all time, it's in the conversation of one of the best general matches of all time.
And I do recall, I don't know that I've seen that in its full, but I've definitely heard like that before. That is like a pinnacle moment for women's wrestling.
It is, and I think it jump started it because for a long time, women's wrestling was they called it the piss break. You know, they as soon as the women came on to the ring, people would go get a T-shirt or they would go to the bathroom and get some beer. Well, and they were disrespected for so long.
And you had a lot of really, like back in the day.
Yes, so many good women wrestlers. They were just never given the chance.
And the storytelling was very,
it was always
bland,
and everybody got 5 minutes and that's it.
Right, like you were literally just. It was never enough to hold your attention. Mm-hmm. But you had girls like Lita and Trish Stratus
who were phenomenal wrestlers. Yeah. Victoria was incredible. Mickie James, incredible wrestler. Definitely, if you go back to the days, we had Medusa or Alundra Blaze.
Oh yes, absolutely.
She was a phenomenal wrestler.
But then now it seems like it's a huge part of it.
Yeah, it is, and it should be.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and obviously with anything, it gets better. Mm-hmm. Today's wrestlers do some of the most incredible things I've ever seen, not just men, but also the women.
Exactly.
And so. And it helps, too, that they're actually giving them solid story and background and making you really envelop in their character.
Yeah, and I think that match definitely helped with that.
For sure.
This was, after that, it was like, we should be on the same, tier as the guys here. We should be getting the main event spot, and I always look back at that match. I'm like, damn, that's such a good match.
That is too.
Such a good match. I love, and like the announcers were on point. The match was on point.
That's the thing too that people kind of don't think about. The announcers make a huge difference.
Huge difference. If they're telling a story and they're calling spots the right way, you're gonna love that match. There has been some times where a match gets ruined because they and their announcers here and they make them spit garbage, and you're like, this guy, just shut up.
Well, and like for me, Jim Ross always made a match just that much better. Like when even when he went to AEW, I was just like, these matches are just like this much better because of Jim Ross, because he's just so good at making you feel the moment. Any others that come to your mind as far as?
I would say so. Those two are important. Another one, when I was a kid, I was big into like heels. Like I loved Triple H.
Yes.
I loved Stone Cold when he was a bad guy, of course. Like DX was always great. But one wrestler that really stood out to me was Edge.
Yes.
I was always an Edge fan. I loved the Brood. I loved Edge and Christian.
And then Edge when he was a solo.
And then Edge when he was solo. Man, when he was starting to do...
Rated R superstar.
You could not find a bigger Rated R superstar fan than me. I was such a big Rated R superstar mark. I bought all his merch or wear it all the time. Every single match I was just in love with.
Well,
him and Lita were killing it.
Yep.
Even though they were the bad guys and he was supposed to hate them.
But God, it's hard to not like a good heel.
Yeah, he was such a good heel. One of my top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time is Edge. But it's not so much a match of his, but a memory. When they started doing this New Year's, they did a pay-per-view called New Year's Resolution, and Cena had just wrestled this great Elimination Chambers match. He's bleeding. He's beat up. And right before the pay-per-view ends, Vince McMahon comes out and he tells the crowd, "Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. This night is not over." And he says, right now, what we're going to do is we're going to introduce the very first Money in the Bank winner. And Money in the Bank is basically a briefcase that you wrestle a bunch of other guys, climb a ladder, you take the briefcase. Inside that briefcase is a contract, and that contract lets you wrestle for any title, anytime you want, no matter what.
Once you cash it in whenever you want.
Whenever you want. Doesn't matter when it is, no matter what title it is. You have that briefcase, and you want a match for the title. Here you go. So this is the very first year they ever did it. So the concept was still fresh and new, and Edge had came out with this briefcase, and I could not believe that they were gonna pull the trigger. And Edge came out, he speared John Cena, and he won the title. Oh man,
That's right, because that was the first time that happened.
Yeah,
the Ultimate Opportunist.
Yep. And I must have. This is back when YouTube was fairly new.
Mm-hmm.
I must have found like a distorted video of that and played it like 50, 100 times.
That was a huge deal.
It was such a big deal. I was so happy. And then he got his own little spinner belt.
Oh, yep, with the R.
With the R, man, those were good times. That
was a good one.
Yeah,
that is a good moment actually.
It's such a good moment. I love that. It's such a big Edge head too.
Oh, for sure. Let me run through mine just real quick.
Go ahead, yeah.
One that always stuck out to me, just because it was just a phenomenal match. I love the way that the storytelling went, and I like how just the match itself progressed.
Mm-hmm.
Was WrestleMania 28 Undertaker versus Triple H. Was it 28 or 29? I want to say 28.
28. Oh, they wrestled.
They played
twice.
They wrestled twice in a row, but this was the last one.
Yeah.
And Shawn Michaels was the
referee.
Yes.
Are you talking about the Hell in a Cell one?
Yes.
Yeah. So the second time.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that was at 28, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but yeah, that was a phenomenal match. Just the whole thing with Shawn Michaels and like the struggle between him and his friend, and then the respect for the Undertaker, and then they all walked off the stage together.
Yeah,
it was great. So that's one of mine. Another one that I think is a very underrated, and I think a lot of people would never think of this, but for some reason, and I've watched this match multiple times, and every time I get chills, just because, again, the way it progresses, the way everything goes through it. Edge, who was the champion, I believe, at the time.
Mm-hmm.
This is Armageddon 2008. Edge versus Triple H versus Jeff Hardy.
Oh, boy.
And it's when Jeff Hardy
first wins his first title.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a big moment.
It was a phenomenal match.
That's a big moment. That's when Jeff was like on the peak. That was he was the best right there.
Mm-hmm. And Jeff Hardy's one of my all-time favorites. Like, I know he has his issues and whatnot, and he's never been consistent.
Yeah.
But just, especially back then, like, at least, like, the heyday Jeff.
He has so much charisma. People love him. People still love him. He's, like, once that Hardy Boys music plays and he's out, oh, man, he used to do, like, the neon face paint where when he would come out, the lights would just go dark.
Like a black light?
Black light, and you would just see all the neon stuff around his face, and you go like this, do that dance he does.
Yeah. No, I freaking love Jeff Hardy, but just, I think the moment because, and you can see it in his face and like how...
That's a good moment. It's funny, it's like, this is one of those B pay-per-views that no one really talks about, but they share that as incredible moments.
And that match just itself, like I said, everything about it was just so well executed.
My brother is a big Jeff Hardy fan, and when we were kids, we were also like play wrestle, and anytime we were playing with our cousins or somebody like a friends, we would always be like the Hardy Boys. I would have to be Matt, he would be Jeff.
Yeah.
And when we got to see them in New York, they were in a tag team match. And my brother, who's right now a little bit more reserved, he doesn't come out like, oh, I'm a wrestling fan, you know, he just kind of more laid back. When we got to see that show and Jeff went out to do the Swanton, his like childhood just like reached out of his throat and he screamed, "Swanton!"
That's so cool.
He just got up and screamed it. And Jeff hit that move.
It's like he got overcome by the spirit.
But the spirit, like his younger self was just like, we have to. And he got up and he screamed that. He's like, "Swanton!"
Dude, that's so
cool. Looking at him, I was like, who's this guy?
Right.
Oh,
just comes out of
where's
the
my
shell.
brother? Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah, so that's how important the Hardy Boys were to us. He was such a big Jeff Hardy fan, so he was definitely. I was happy to have shared that with him. Like, he got to see that, and
that'd be epic.
I'm sure that like this made his day. He was like, "Oh, Swanton!"
Oh, dude, that's so cool. My number one match, I think, and it always has been. This comes back to what you were saying with nostalgia. It just like reminds you of being a kid, and realistically, the entire event, because it was one that I had on VHS and I would watch it over and over again. Was WrestleMania 14. And the match I'm talking is when Stone Cold won his first title against
okay.
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels, Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson, yep. Oh, it was just so great. And the way they did like the you think it's going to be a super kick. Nope. You think it's going to be a stunner. Nope. Super kick and then stunner. Oh, he just lands it. And you knew whoever was going to hit their finisher was going to win that match. It was just such a good match. And it's, in theory, it's not like the most incredible match itself. But I think the moment
yeah. And moments like that definitely carry on the match itself. I remember mostly of that is Austin and Tyson meeting for the first time, and Austin flipping Mike Tyson off, and then getting into a shoving match.
Yeah,
and you just hear JR and Austin and Tyson.
And he's like, I got some sign language for you if you can't hear me.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, Stone Cold's clearly my favorite. In fact,
Stone Cold's the GOAT.
Well, you see all my freaking wrestling things.
Yeah, you have quite the collection.
This one right here, the Stone Cold one,
that
was the first one of these I ever bought, and that's what got me back into wrestling after so long of not watching. I saw that at Walmart, and I grabbed it. It's a 4-disc. It's a documentary, and then it's like 2 of just matches and 1 of just promos, and moments like that.
Yeah.
And just watching all that, I was like, dude, I forgot how cool wrestling is. And then from there on, it was full speed ahead.
Man, but that back then, it was such a great time to be a wrestling fan. It was mostly Stone Cold. Just, I remember he used to just do crazy stuff like drive a Zamboni to the ring, or drive a
beer truck
to the ring and spray everybody with beer. Or he would really ham it up, and he was like singing on the guitar.
Yep.
He'll just like, "Kumbaya, my lord," just like so out of tune.
I like it. I like that one when McMahon had it, and then he takes it and smashes it over his head. He's like, "I think you're out of tune." He's all taking just smash. That's when he switched back from. They tried to do the whole him being buddies.
bad guy for a little bit, and they were like, "We want the old Stone Cold back."
Stuck, yeah.
Yeah. Austin was definitely one of the best, man. Some of the greatest promos, some of the greatest matches. I was gonna say one thing I didn't touch on about the old school wrestling is guys like Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior and like Ric Flair. Those guys I watch too, and they're also phenomenal. I can go back and watch anything from like the 90s and still get like the best like out of it. Like Macho Man versus Ultimate Warrior, and it was like a retirement match.
Yes.
Whoever lost had to retire, and that was an incredible match.
Ultimate Warrior is one of those guys that kind of just flies under the radar too. Like he was a great. I mean, he wasn't so.
But the thing is, he wasn't like a great wrestler,
right?
But he was a great storyteller in the sense like if you saw him, he was like, oh, this guy's a wrestler. What's he about? And like he had the entrance, the face paint, yeah, the attire.
He didn't have a gas tank, that's for sure.
Yeah, he definitely got blown up pretty fast. But man, forget that, man. Just give me that entrance all day.
Oh god,
the music that they made for him, and him running.
Yeah,
tell me that doesn't get you pumped up.
Yeah, and you just start shaking the ropes.
I never did this, but if I was ever like big into working out, that would be my number one workout song.
You know what's funny? A couple weeks ago, I was I don't know, it was just a solo podcast, and I was like, I gotta get hyped up because I just felt like in such a weird like, I don't know, sleepy mood or just like I wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
So you know what I threw on? The Hardy Boys theme.
Nice.
Because that one just gets me.
Oh man, I listen to wrestling themes almost every day because regardless of the situation, it like hypes you up. It gets you ready for the day.
Well,
like,
it's supposed like, that's the whole point of it. It's supposed to be like high energy.
You gotta work a double, put on some wrestling song before I go. You gotta go to the gym or you got something big coming up, put some wrestling music on. Hypes you up.
I'm gonna hit you with another one. This will meet both our worlds, music and wrestling.
Yeah.
Give me your top 5 wrestling songs.
Top 5 wrestling songs. That's easy.
Okay.
Easy. So Alter Bridge, Edge's theme song.
Yes.
Metalingus. Yeah, I love that song so much. I mean, so.
And let me. I don't know if I want to. I want to preface this also by saying which song is good to listen to.
Yeah.
I would seriously say, Steve Austin's theme is iconic, but I wouldn't put
listen.
it.
Yeah, you want to listen to it.
Right.
I will also say, so I don't know if it's my favorite, but I've been digging it lately. As Kane came out with lyrics to his song.
Oh.
And it was you just get this hook like bam, 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 bam.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
then
It's the
chemical.
Yeah.
Fails.
You are the one. I
Yeah.
can't remember how it goes, but
That's a good song.
it is a good one actually.
That's a good song. One of my favorite songs though. I've been listening to a lot. It has no lyrics, but I just love the way it makes me feel. If I'm like trying to hype myself up, no matter what, I listen to Roman Reigns' new theme.
Okay.
The Head of the Table.
Mm-hmm.
It's got this like end of the level final boss theme for it. Like the energy that comes with this song. If I'm like walking, if I gotta walk like a long distance or anything, it like pumps me up. It gets me ready. I feel like I get to my destination faster because I'm hearing this damn song.
I might have to check that one. I don't think I've heard that one before.
Yeah, Head of the Table. Another great one is something that I think has been used so many times, not even about wrestling. Real American, Hulk Hogan's.
Yeah.
Come on, you telling me like any like old school wrestling song, any wrestling guy like they hear that song, they're gonna be like,
Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
yeah, I am a real American.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a great, a funny one. So, Cody Rhodes, I don't know if you know him. He used to wrestle for WWE and then started AEW. And he's got this song called Kingdom Come, and it's a band like Downstrain. Yeah, I think it's pronounced Strained. But they make a bunch of wrestling theme songs, but they made this Cody Rhodes song. And when he left to AEW to go back to WWE, I went to that Double or Nothing show that I told you about. But before then, there was like a bar right across the street from the stadium. And it was full of like wrestling fans.
Yeah.
And there was a DJ. He was playing nothing but wrestling songs. He was playing like CM Punk's Cult of Personality, which is a great song. But I was like, hey, do you mind playing this Cody Rhodes song for me? It's like, you crazy? Like, he just left AEW. These guys are a little brokenhearted about that. They don't want to hear his song right now. I was like, oh, come on, man. Here's $5. He was like, all right. So all of a sudden, I hear Cody Rhodes thing starting to play, and I tell my buddy, I was like, you gotta watch this. And his song plays, and everybody's like turning around, and they go, boo!
That's perfect.
And
though.
I'm like laughing. I was like, adrenaline in my soul.
It's a good song though. I think I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's such a good song.
Yeah.
I listen to that song a lot. It's a great song, but I just love it more. That was the bitterness that came from that song. I loved it. Top 5 right there. Triple H's song. I think any Triple H song. It's My Time.
That's a good one.
That's a great song. His song with Motorhead.
The Game.
Yeah, The Game or King of Kings.
Yeah, both great songs.
Both amazing songs. Motorhead, I love it. I also love by Motorhead is they performed at WrestleMania, and they performed.
Oh yeah.
And the fun fact about that is Lemmy had no idea what the lyrics to his own song was, so he just improvised the entire time.
Wow.
And no one knows that because you're just hearing the song, but he's like, at the point he goes, it's all about the game and how you play it. It's all about the game and how you make it. It's all about the game.
Oh, he just keeps saying that.
Yeah. He's like, and I'm the game.
But it's probably
Okay.
also like one of those things where you maybe they thought it was meant to be that way.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay. No, Lemmy, you're the best.
Oh, yeah.
No one can be. It's so funny. He's like, and I'm the game, and I'm the game.
He just totally went off script.
Yeah.
Let me see. Favorite one. I'm gonna add the Hardy Boys.
Yes.
just because there's no lyrics, but it just amps me up.
Yeah, exactly.
Randy Orton voices.
Voices. The voice is a good one. Did you ever like Burning?
The one before that?
The Burning the Light?
Is that
like,
the one?
Yeah, it goes like...
Nothing you can say.
Hey!
Yeah, I like that one
You
too.
like that one?
I actually like that one better before, and then voices wore on me a little more.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, Batista.
Oh, yes, Batista is definitely in there.
That's a top.
I Walk Alone is definitely
Saliva.
top. Oh, are you kidding me?
That's a top.
Yeah, that's a great song.
Let's see.
That's a great song.
Oh, I like Brock Lesnar's
Yeah.
because that's another one that kind of gets me.
It's a hype song.
I don't love like the waka waka waka.
Yeah,
Like
that's always I always thought that one that's funny. It's like that's a his character. It's like wah wah.
Yeah, it kind of throws me off, but like that dun dun, like
Yeah.
that really like gets me.
What about the greatest rap artist of all time, John Cena?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, that is an iconic song. Like you hear it, you know what's up. Oh, speaking of that, speaking of like rap-ish, DX, like the DX theme song.
Yeah.
Solid.
There's a rap duo in AEW now called The Acclaim,
Mm-hmm.
and they rap on. The guy raps his way to the ring, and
Okay.
his bars are always really good.
Yeah.
He's like burns the opponent, whoever he's wrestling. He like burns them by like saying something.
So he's doing what Cena did, but much better.
Much better, much better. I mean, credits to Cena though. Back then, he had some good bars, but yeah, he's doing a John Cena gimmick right now, and they're like so over, and it just reminded me of that. You wouldn't guess though what their catchphrase is, because every wrestler has a good catchphrase.
Right.
The Rock has, "If you smell The Rock's cooking." Stone Cold has, "That's the bottom line." These guys' catchphrase is, "Scissor me."
Oh, what? They got away with that, huh?
Yeah.
How'd that?
They are so popular at saying "scissor me," and now Billy Gunn, who used to be badass Billy Gunn at DX, is now over there at AEW, and he's their manager. You know what they call him?
Huh?
They call him Daddy Ass. So they go, "Scissor me, Daddy Ass," and they say that on TV every Wednesday.
Dude, that's
And they're the most
gold.
And they're the most over tag team right now. Like everyone
And what are
loves
they called?
The Acclaim.
Okay, and that's an AEW.
AEW, yeah.
Okay.
So I highly check out the Acclaim. Great tag team, by the way.
Dude, yeah, that's hilarious.
They are great tag team, but yeah, hilarious because you got these grown men, even the announcers like Jim Ross, who grew up in like the Attitude Era. He's so confused sometimes. He's like, "Yeah, scissor me, Daddy Ass."
Yeah, he's an older guy. Like he probably goes right over his head.
Yeah, so everyone's like going like this and like.
Because is that like their thing? Is they like
they go like this to each other, or they go like this to the audience, and they make a big thing. They go, oh.
That's genius though. Like it's just on the cusp of being too explicit, but also acceptable.
Yeah, they're not saying anything explicit, but at the same time, it's such a great innuendo.
Oh, it's great.
As your catchphrase.
Yeah, I mean, clearly that's something that's going to catch on. So they found gold in that.
Yeah, scissor me.
God, that's hilarious. I gotta say, I know we've talked a lot about wrestling, but I don't ever get to talk about wrestling with anybody. Like, I have no wrestling friends. Like, I used to. My mom, my brother used to really be into it. That's no longer, but God, it is fun to, like, look back on wrestling stuff and actually be able to talk to somebody that understands it and
Yeah, I
gets
mean,
it.
and the funny thing about it is, a lot of people tell me is, I have no, no filter or like no shame about watching wrestling. I'll tell anybody.
Yeah,
Like everybody's like, "Oh, shouldn't that be like a what do they call it? Like a secret, like a guilty pleasure?"
sure, okay.
And I'm like, "No, I put down on Front Street.
Yeah, but it's,
I like wrestling. I love wrestling. I love to talk about wrestling. I'm never gonna change that."
well, for one, that's good because you shouldn't have to hide who you are and and the things you enjoy.
Yeah.
Two, we already said, like, there's nothing to be embarrassed about with it. Like, you know what mine is for that? It's Dragon Ball Z. You
Yeah.
know, like I clearly have it out on front and display.
Yeah, I love Dragon Ball Z as well.
Yeah,
Who is your favorite character though?
Vegeta.
I was gonna say that too.
But
I love Vegeta
because he has the best character arc. There's like
Vegeta is the best. I was always a big Vegeta fan. Always a big Vegeta fan.
I wasn't always.
Oh.
When I was a kid, I was definitely the Goku guy. Like Goku, just like the do-gooder. But in my older age, I realized how good and how like awesome Vegeta is.
It's always Vegeta. If not Vegeta, I
always like Trunks too. Trunks was badass.
Trunks is badass.
Older Trunks, not younger Trunks.
Yeah. Yeah, Trunks is badass. I also like
Hercule. I'm just kidding.
Hercule is so funny.
He is funny, but
he's so funny. He's like the greatest wrestler or whatever, and he doesn't do anything.
They actually made him as a mock to pro wrestling, like, or not a mock, but to be like this over dramatic,
exactly
kind of American. Oh, I hate that. This one, if I bump it, it makes that popping noise. I hate that.
No, I love it. I was gonna say I have a friend who doesn't live in Montana anymore, but his name is Dylan Times, and he's like this great kid. I met him at the Crystal one time. He came up to me and was like, "Hey, I recognize you from the show. I saw you on Instagram. So you go to all these wrestling shows. I think that's so cool. I'd love to talk to you about it. You know, like hang out and talk to you." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, buddy, whatever." And but he has this extensive knowledge of wrestling, and he doesn't do it anymore. But he had a podcast, and he would always come over to my house. We'll watch a pay-per-view. He'll write some notes, and then we'll all talk about wrestling.
Okay.
And we actually, one of my favorite memories is we all watched the Royal Rumble together, and we did a pod, and it was like 4 or 5 of us. And my buddies who really don't do like podcasts, they're just like, I just like to watch it, like talk to them. Hey, stick around, let's do this. And they all ended up having like the best time. We were all like chatting about wrestlers. We all just like had like little inputs to put in. We all get like some of us would get distracted about something and have like a separate conversation, and then it was just like we're just like rambling on, but it was like some of the best stuff. So with that being said, like if we ever do like a big Royal Rumble party again, I'd love for you to come down.
Oh, dude, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So you say he doesn't do the podcast?
He doesn't. Anymore? He moved away.
Do you happen to remember the name of the podcast?
Wrestling Times.
I met that guy. I met that guy at a New Year's Eve party. It was a house party.
Okay.
And somehow I got on the conversation of podcasts, and he's like, I have a podcast, and he showed me that, and I followed that one. I listened to a couple episodes, but were you on it regularly?
Not so much the newer, not older stuff, but like some of his like newer stuff, or in between, I should say. I was there. Some of the older stuff I missed out on. He was there with my other buddies, like, excuse me, John and Travis and everybody. But there was a in between part where I was like,
that's hilarious. What a small world.
It is a small world, but he was a great kid, and shout out to whatever he's doing now.
Yeah.
We got lost contact with him. He moved away and he was like telling me, he was like, "Oh, I gotta get like a new cell phone, blah blah blah." Like he moved with his girlfriend, and like their stuff got stolen out of her car. So he was just trying to like build everything back up. They was like, "All right, once you get a phone again, be sure to give us your number or whatever."
Never did.
Never did.
Damn.
So I was like, "Well, I hope you're good. I hope you're good. We all miss you, buddy." So yeah.
But yeah, dude, I'm down definitely for if you guys do a party.
Yeah, no, I think the Royal Rumble is actually coming up. It's going to be at the end of this month. I think it's January 28th.
Okay.
And I'm not going to go to it.
Right.
So the plan is the Royal Rumble is actually the biggest one. It's bigger than WrestleMania. It's bigger than SummerSlam. Only because how much fun we get. You know, we...
for like the countdown and all that.
The countdown, we have like little games we play.
Okay.
There's some drinking games. There's, it's a great atmosphere. So, and I definitely the ones that I bring non-wrestling fans to, and I invite them to, because we were just counting down.
Well,
We were just watching a bunch of dudes throw each other off the top rope. So
that's fun for non-wrestling fans to get to
Yeah.
experience that with a bunch of wrestling fans
yeah,
because
because it's not like a traditional wrestling match where there's a winner.
Right.
There's people getting thrown off. There's surprises. There's debuts.
there's always at least one or two big surprise
Yeah.
entries.
Yeah, so it's always a big deal. So the end of this month, I'll let you know.
Hell
Keep
yeah,
in
dude.
touch. But yeah, definitely a Royal Rumble party, and it's like we gotta let's wrap this up. Let's all talk about wrestling on a pod or something.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm so down.
Yeah.
All right. Deal. Well, speaking of wrapping up, let's wrap this thing up here.
Okay.
Dude, first of all, appreciate you coming on the show.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
this
man.
was a lot of fun getting
Yeah.
to like reminisce and talk about some old school
I,
stuff.
I
and-
I appreciate you asking me to come on.
Oh, dude, like I said, and I stand by it. You're a very intriguing person. Like, just getting to see some of the stuff you do, and for one, I gotta say, I love that you're ambitious enough to do it because not a lot of people are.
Yeah, I mean, when I first moved down here, I wanted to put my hands in a bit of everything. I wanted to be a part of it, whether it was like throwing a party or hosting an event or just helping a business grow. Even if I made $0 out of it, I just wanted more people to come down and enjoy it.
Yeah.
That was my main goal. I was like, I love, downtown, so why not focus all my energy in bringing people downtown?
Yeah. Well, dude, you are very much a life of the party type of guy, and I can tell you got a lot of life in you, and you show that. So,
I appreciate that. It's very kind.
I like to end my episode with a positive or motivational message from the guest to the audience. What do you got for us?
So a lot lately has been on my mind is about people's opinions and what they think of me. And I think what drives me more than ever is not so much what they think of me, it's what they remember about me. So if I can leave on a good impression, or if I can work hard into seeing something, make it to the light of day, that's what my main goal is. And I say if anybody sees any obstacle that is like too hard to pass, I would say keep pushing, because you don't know how close you are to accomplishing it. There's been many times where I've gotten so close and got like, oh man, this is too hard, I should probably back off, not knowing how close I was to actually getting what I wanted. So I would just like keep pushing, man, keep going. No matter what's in your head, no matter people's opinions, you think they dictate how your life is. If something negative came towards me, most people would be like, oh man, like, why you keep posting? Like, why are you going to keep doing that? No, I got to show them that life keeps going on. I'm going to continue being myself. I'm going to continue posting the content I want to post. So I want to, at the end of the day, be happy. And that's what it's about. Like, that's where my, everything should be about.
For sure. Can't let anybody else's opinions bring you down.
Yeah.
You can't make everybody happy, and
You can't.
you shouldn't have to.
So if you find yourself down, just look back and seeing what you did and how well you are, and keep posting, keep doing what you're doing. And that's all I got. I appreciate you doing what you're doing.
Well,
No matter what, you just keep posting.
oh yeah, dude. I mean, thank you. I appreciate that. So, and I'm glad you got to be a part of it. Add to the positivity in the world and stuff like that. That's the whole point.
Yeah, and I appreciate you bringing me on and letting me ramble about wrestling.
Oh,
with
dude,
you.
I loved it. It was a lot of fun. I mean, you know how many times I've gotten to talk about wrestling on this thing? Zero. Unless I was talking about it like with just me, but
Yeah,
never
no.
had to have a conversation.
Yeah,
So,
no, it's fun. It's fun to reminisce. It's fun to bring back old stories. Some I haven't talked about in forever, so it's always therapeutic to kind of release that and talk about it. So I really appreciate that.
absolutely, man. Well, I'm looking forward to the Royal Rumble then.
Yeah, it's gonna
Been
be
the
a
first
party.
time. I'll be one of the first wrestling events I got to see in a long, long time. So.
It's gonna be a party.
I'm actually excited.
You be ready to party.
Oh, dude, I always am.
Yeah.
And for everybody out there, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. If you don't mind, like, share, and subscribe. But most importantly, don't forget, life's a garden. Dig it.
Just gotta keep on going.